Okay, so welcome, Claire. Thank you very much for chatting to me today about your money frequency and how it's helped and is helping you grow your business. So thank you for being with me. So we're going to talk about your three top frequencies, and we'll share what they, or you can share what they are in a second. But before we do any of that, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody and share a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sarah. So I'm Clare. I predominantly work with the divine feminine energies, so mostly helping women, but not exclusively. And I work with children and babies as well. Um, so a lot of my journey has been embodying those energies myself, and now I'm helping other people to embody them too. Um, so that would include balancing the masculine and the feminine energies. I work with helping people to release trauma and suppressed emotions from the body. And a lot of people who come to me actually have birth trauma still in their system, other types of trauma, a lot of grief, and sometimes abuse as well. And sometimes some of those things they may not have experienced directly themselves, but have come down through the ancestral line. And
Interesting.
yeah, like it's kind of, I've noticed over the last few years that a lot of those energies are just really wanting to clear out of the ancestral lines now
Mm.
as the divine feminine energies come through and as the new earth energies come through. So I do that through craniosacral so hands-on the body work, energy healing, and also with essences. And I found the combination of using the essences with the body and the energy work to be really effective and to clear things that haven't been clearing before, at deep levels, and to bring them up to the surface and to clear them quite quickly and get resolution where it hasn't occurred before.
Mm. So
And
very profound work that you do. Mm.
yeah, I tend to work at quite deep levels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the other thing, I suppose, my focus at the moment is on launching my own range of essences, which I will be doing quite soon.
What's your range called?
Divine light essences.
Wow. Mm. Mm. Brilliant. Okay, well, I'm very happy to be able to share you and your essences with everybody. So as you're watching this, please give Claire lots of love, because it's a brave thing to come and share yourself in this way. So please, 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 say hello to her or say hello to us. And also please share your inspirations as you listen to Claire very bravely talking about how she is growing her business with her beautiful gifts. So let's talk a little bit about your money frequencies, Claire. So before we went live, we kind of felt that it was what would be most useful is for you to share about your three top essences, money frequencies. And your top one is Accumulator.
Yeah, the top one is Accumulator, then Ruler, and then Alchemist.
Uh-huh. So we've talked quite a lot about Accumulator over the last few days. So it's really nice to have that coming up again, because I think a lot of people got really helped them understand. And we've also got pieces of it all together. Tell us a little bit about the Ruler and how she helps you.
So the Ruler, I guess it scared me a little bit when I saw it first. And then when I actually tuned into it, what came through intuitively was the Queen energy, which, it was quite a surprise to me, but it also helped me to put it into more context. So what came through to me was that, a queen doesn't worry about where money is going to come from. She's abundant. She's heart-centered. She'll do what she needs to do. She's sovereign. She's empowered. And where the accumulator can earn the money, the ruler can actually manage that money and make sure that it doesn't just run through the hands.
Wow, that's quite a pair, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I think if you look at one or the other separately, it's a little bit harder to take on board. But both of them together, yeah. And then I think when I brought the Alchemist in, because I think, last week I was saying to you earlier, Sarah, and I was just looking at the Accumulator, I was feeling that, I was feeling kind of alone and unsupported. And I realized then that I needed to bring the other archetypes in, that there's a team, that, there's a whole team there. And when you work with them together and allow them to support each other, that's when the real magic happens, and the real support has come in for me, especially with bringing the Alchemist in. Probably the Alchemist is the one I've been working with the most over the last few months.
So how does the Alchemist support you?
So I find the Alchemist really supports me in terms of helping me overcome the negative aspects of the Accumulator. So things like, fear of scarcity. So while I'm quite good with money and good at saving, I do have an underlying fear there of, that it'll run out, or in the future at some point I won't have enough. And the Alchemist, I think, has shown me that when I go into that state of fear, that I need to kind of step back and just let the magic come in, think outside the box and ask the universe to show me the other options. And I've managed to turn some situations around that might have seemed a little bit impossible. But, I've had positive outcomes, and that has been happening to me for a good few years. But it's only recently that I actually saw the pattern and realized it was the Alchemist archetype.
It's the power of the money frequencies or the money archetypes, isn't it? Because they are who we are anyway. So it's not that by knowing them, we suddenly go, oh, I'm going to be different now. It's who we are, and it's how we've always been. But it's making it conscious is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
And when we become conscious, we can make different decisions then, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think when I looked at, say, the negative aspects of the Accumulator, things like, fear, not trusting, not feeling safe, they were actually, and still are, my life lessons and my challenges in life. So that was really interesting to see that connection.
Yeah. And what I love about this work as well is that, yes, we always tend to kind of look at all the things that are wrong, aren't they? But what I've really, really encouraged us all to do is to look at the positive parts of it and go, okay, so when I fall down my hole, this is where I go. And yeah, okay, I'm human. So now I know it, I can, support myself better. But hey, look at what I'm good at.
Yeah, and I think even if you don't consciously know you're good at something, just knowing that you're wired in that way, I wouldn't have known, because, I've worked for somebody, I've worked in the corporate world for a long time. So I wouldn't necessarily have known that I'm wired to be self-employed. But if I take the Accumulator and the ruler, they look like the perfect combination to be self-employed and to manage money. If you do have the right ideas and the right inspirations coming through.
They do. Yeah. That's a really cool thing. It's one of the things I'm really enjoying about talking to you all, because I'm learning so much as well about the money frequencies by us all sharing together. So that is very, very interesting for you. And I think with our strengths as well, because they are our natural strengths, we kind of think, we don't think they're anything special.
Yeah. It wasn't really until last week, when I heard a lot of other people talking and interacting in the group, that I realized that, so that there were a good few accumulators, but, that there are other people who have other strengths, but not necessarily with money. Whereas I probably myself, I always took for granted that, I'm good at earning money and I'm good at saving money. But, I know that can be a struggle for other people. Whereas, there's other gifts and strengths other people have that I don't have.
And that's the perfect thing when we're trying to grow our business, really, is at the beginning stages, we might kind of have to do everything ourselves. It's the nature of this way of living, if you like. But what we're ultimately working towards is, as we start to earn money, is only doing what we're good at. And then other people can come in to support us to do the things that, don't give us joy, or maybe we're not so good at. And that's a very beautiful thing about being self-employed. So yeah. And I think, as I've said before, there's a whole lot of accumulator envy out there, Claire. And now we know ruler as well. We were going, oh, I actually do have some ruler in me, as you know, I think it's the get up and go in me that kind of gets on and does things, but I don't have any accumulator. So I've had to learn that. So if anybody else is a bit like that, don't despair. It's just something we have to learn, and it's very doable.
Yeah, I think the other thing about the ruler that, I hadn't really realized before was just holding that big vision, being able to hold that big vision and manage it through. Whereas the accumulator, especially in me, I can have quite limited beliefs in what's possible, both in terms of ideas coming through and how much I could earn, what's possible in terms of earning. So I think having the ruler there who can hold a bigger vision, and also the alchemist then who can, just be in the moment and trust that what you need in that moment will come. That really helps to support that kind of aspect of the accumulator.
Yeah, accumulators can shrink themselves, whereas rulers are, and so they can overextend themselves as well. So I think the really nice thing about us talking here is that for anybody that's done the free money frequency quiz, you have your top money frequency, which is so cool and really, really helpful. And as Claire's saying, the real magic begins when we get to dance with all three of them. And obviously that's what people work with and deep dive with in the Empowered Healer programs. So it's really interesting to hear you talk about them, Clare, like that. Because they have different voices, don't they? As we just said, the accumulator has a very different voice, let's say, to the alchemist. So if there's confusion and we tend to find ourselves going, in different directions, and then that is probably why. And it's about making friends with all of that. So thank you. That's a really beautiful share. So if I could just, I think you've probably kind of answered this, but let me just ask you, how have your archetypes, if you could just say one thing, what's the biggest thing your archetypes or your money frequencies have helped you with growing your business? Because you're in the seed program, and the seed program is all about really getting clear on what we're here to do, so that we don't just kind of start a business and it doesn't really work, and actually I was a bit wrong, I went in the wrong direction. It's about like, okay, so what is it that I'm here to do, and let me plant that seed. So how have knowing your archetypes or money frequency helped you get clear?
I think probably the biggest thing is knowing that fear holds me back, and knowing that I need to be in the flow more. I need to flow more. So letting go of control, not trying to overplan things, tuning into my business, tuning into the energy of my business, and taking the guidance from that and seeing where that energy wants to go, and just trying to go with that flow rather than having, my intellectual mind try to control what's going to happen.
That's such beautiful sharing and advice.
Yeah, I've just found that sometimes, I could be working on, I could be trying to make something happen for like weeks, and it's just not happening. It's just like the energy just isn't flowing there. And then when the time is right and the energy's right, it could be done in a few hours. So it's just, I suppose, tuning more into that and just following the energy, following the flow, and getting out of my own way, when the fears come up.
And it's so important to have support when that happens, isn't it? Both internal support and support of your essences and all the ways that we look for it, but also support, business support as well. And I know for me, certainly, if I didn't have a place to go and go, I can't do this or whatever it is, then
it's lovely to have a group, it's lovely to have other people who are in similar situations and similar stages, who understand what you're going through.
Understand what it's like to bring our energies through them and offer them out. Yeah. Wow, some very precious sharings. Thank you for that, Clare. So let me ask you what I've asked others as well, because what I'm wanting is that these chats are just really nourishing as to what it's really like to have your own business. So when you came in to the Empowered Seed program, was there anything that you kind of thought, oh, I wasn't really expecting this, or I didn't know it was going to be like this? Is there anything like that you'd like to share?
Probably maybe the biggest surprise, which probably shouldn't have been, was just, you know, the link between your business and your self-worth, your self-value. It's something, you know, I know you talk about a lot, and I hadn't really realized how deep that connection goes.
Yeah.
So, you know, just your own self-worth and your own self-work is just really important as you're setting up your business, because all your stuff will come up.
It does. And it's horrible when it happens. Well, it's not to say horrible, but it's like, oh, but it's so joyful when you come out the other side.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, it's going to come up in some area of your life anyway. So,
yeah,
you know, you'll deal with it somewhere. So it's good to deal with in a place where you're supported.
So what I'm hearing you saying, which is really interesting in my experience too, that by deciding to grow your own business, you've also cleared a lot of stuff on a personal level. Is that what I understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How cool is that? So, well, thank you for all the very nourishing things you shared. Would you like to share with everybody how they can find out more about what you do if they are feeling that they'd like to know more about you, your essences? How could people get in touch with you?
Sure, they can contact me on Facebook. So Clare Troy on Facebook.
By sending you a message?
Yeah, I can send me a message. Yeah, I will have a Facebook page up for the essences probably over the next week or so. It's not there at the moment, but that is coming quite soon.
Okay, so if you're watching this, you know, a few days after, just get in touch. That's the thing to do, isn't it? Let's just get in touch. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Clare. It's been a really, 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 I've learned a whole load listening to you. And so if you're watching, listening to this, please do share how Clare's sharing has inspired you and how it's helped you take the next steps for your business. Is there anything you'd like to share before we say goodbye? Anything else that your sacred self wants to say?
Actually, there's probably just one other thing I didn't really mention, and that was, you know, it's just a big aha moment I had again last week during your 4-day sessions, and that was, you know, I've been looking at money in a very static way. So I was kind of seeing, you know, my bank account as, you know, that's it, and you know, I have to work really hard to increase it. Whereas what came to me was I actually needed to change how I view it and see it as a dynamic channel where the energy is actually flowing. So, you know, if I'm taking money out, if I'm spending money, that it's just going to automatically, the energy will, you know, the energy of that money will keep flowing through, and it's not, you know, it's not hard. It's not going to be hard. So it was just that change of perception.
That's very profound, especially from the accumulators out there for all of us, actually, especially at these times. So much is unknown right now. And we can all have the tendency to like hold on. But if we look at it from an energetic perspective, we get a completely different message.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clare. It's been a complete delight to speak to you. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.